Evolution was everything I thought it would be. It would be a 3-woman match show. So, yeah. Let's talk about the match of the night. Last woman standing match. Not the first ever last woman standing match. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. I was heading into this match with the most slightest hope of optimism that WWE will do the right thing and make Becky Lynch the winner. Because all throughout this build-up heading into the show was a complete disaster in my mind. Not because of the characters, it's because of WWE trying so hard to try and make Becky this hated, evil person. But no, it doesn't work. Fans can't, I'm scared to know what Vince thinks of Robin Hood. Does he think Robin Hood was this horrible person that stole from the rich and gave to the poor, even though everyone else loved the story of Robin Hood and whatnot? I'm scared to know what Vince thought of it. Because, really think about it from a narrative perspective. Becky Lynch is this woman who's worked her ass off to try and prove herself that she belongs. Charlotte Flair comes in and is immediately awarded a title opportunity, wins the title. Becky Lynch has had enough and seeks to destroy Charlotte. Yeah, Charlotte has been gifted everything in this storyline, and Becky Lynch has been screwed over after all the hard work she's done. But no, Vince is saying, well, Becky's a foreigner, that means she's evil, and also a coward. And more so that they go ahead and do this gigantic insult to the fans by retconning Edge. Yeah, they did it. They really went there with Edge. You see, Edge has a character of being the opportunistic individual. He went ahead and strived to go ahead and be the best at he was, but it always came at a high cost, like he lost his friendships and whatnot, except they seem to have erased the moments where he reconciled with them both in storyline. Like, we all know the Matt Hardy storyline he had, that dark storyline that took very gruesome turns and really shot from the hip. They reconciled in storyline, which means that they erased that. Then there's the whole feud with John Cena. They retconned that out of existence and said that they never made up. Because they did in storyline. They tag teamed together. And then there's Christian, of all people. You know, Christian, the guy who betrayed Edge first, and Edge was the face back in 2001. And then Edge and Christian reunited heading into Edge's last match. And that was now retconned out of existence. That is the major problem I have with WWE. They do pointless retcons to push an agenda that doesn't make any sense. Like, they turned the Shield into Roman's personal protection squad, even though that's ideally a heel group, but WWE was saying it's a face group. They retconned the last woman standing match by saying Becky Lynch and Charlotte is the first ever. Asuka and Nikki Cross never happened. So, yeah, because NXT is the child that's doing better than the grandfather ever did, and the grandfather hates him for that. And then they go ahead and retcon the women's wrestling industry as a whole by saying Stephanie McMahon is the trailblazer, not everyone else, even though she's only had a handful of matches, and up until her match with Brie Bella, she hadn't had a match in over 10 years. So, yeah, ignore all that. That clearly never happened. She was a trailblazer. You hear that? You hear that? Even though Triple H was more of the man, even more of the person that was in the corner of the women's division and saying that we need to give them equal opportunities and have them steal the show. So, yeah. I was just flabbergasted at how WWE is trying so hard to make Becky this hateful person, yet everyone cheered for her. They cheered for her over Edge when she referenced his broken neck. I would say, okay, at this point, they can go ahead and retcon the history of The Undertaker and Kane and say Becky Lynch was the one that set fire to Kane and Undertaker's family home and burned Kane alive. The fans would still cheer for her. And someone even mentioned that they could do what Snitsky did and kick a baby. They'll still say, the baby deserved it! And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the logic fans went with. But still, yeah, this is how popular Becky Lynch got. No matter what she did, everyone understood her motive. Everyone understood her her reasoning. Everyone was on her side, and Charlotte was being portrayed as the sympathetic face. This reminds me so much of Roman Reigns. They were trying so desperately to try and make her like Roman Reigns, a sympathetic face, but no one wanted that. They wanted her, Charlotte, to be the heel and Becky Lynch to be the face. But no, Vince doesn't like that mentality, because if he does, then that compromises everything he believes in, and his reality will be forever destroyed. At least that's my personal conspiracy theory. So, I was hoping that this match was going to be... I knew this match was going to be good. They are two talented women, but I wanted Becky Lynch to win. This is the match that I have to say it has to go in this one way. If they go the other way, it's going to backfire big time. So, here we go with Becky Lynch and Charlotte. This match stole the show, kind of obvious. Becky Lynch goes ahead, and they keep trying to also change the audio of the promo when they were doing it, trying to portray Becky as this villain, even though fans were cheering for her, loving her. And even the commentary was trying their best to push this agenda that Becky only has a small cult following. Even though everyone around the country is currently cheering for her, you could go ahead, put her in one of the most hated countries that hate Irish people or Scottish people and whatnot, Becky Lynch's native country, and they would probably still cheer for her. Like, that's how popular she is. Like, that's how popular I can think she is. Like, you could put her native homeland, you could go ahead and put her in a country that doesn't like her native homeland, and they will cheer for her. So, Becky Lynch and Charlotte tore the house down. They were given 30 minutes to work with, nearly 30 minutes to work this match. And yeah, there were some issues with it I had, but I loved how crazy and chaotic it got. It got to the slow pace start, and then it got into complete chaotic mayhem, where kendo sticks, steel chairs, tables, ladders. So they brought in TLC early, and Becky mocking Ric Flair's strut, and then we get all this wonderful chaos going on. It was intense. It was awesome. We got even Becky jumping off the ladder, crashing into Charlotte. Then we did the Tommaso Ciampa style of wrestling, where she goes ahead and buries Charlotte in piles of debris from the ring and matches, from the match so far. I was hoping she would put some guy on there just for the hell of it. But yeah, unlike Tommaso Ciampa, who was hated and vilified by fans, this wasn't working. She was just getting cheered. If she had thrown a guy on there, they would have just said, yeah, that guy deserved it. He was getting in the way of perfection. I'd be like, that's the problem I also kind of had with Dean Ambrose's heel turn. Like, I know I'm going a little off topic, but Tommaso Ciampa didn't turn heel on the night of tragedy. That relates to it. Becky doesn't, and Becky turning heel makes no sense. They're just making her this villainess, but everyone wants to cheer for her. But yeah. And then, even more insane, is that Charlotte keeps digging down and saying, is that all you got? And I was like, okay, look, you can make Charlotte a good face. I get that, but she fits better as a heel. In fact, wasn't her father a heel most of the time in this wrestling career? Yes, he was a face for a lot, but he was mostly known as the heel of the Jet Flyer, Kiss Stealing, Wheeling Dealing, Son of a Gun. Ooh. And like, that was Ric Flair. He was this overly extravagant, overly cocky heel who did dirty tricks to win the match, and yet, for some reason, WWE says, oh, that never happened. Ric Flair was a respectable competitor in the ring, always did the right thing. He was a good guy in the ring. Except he was a heel at a lot of points, and Vince is saying that didn't happen, most likely. So, yeah. And, like, fans are chanting, you deserve it, at Charlotte when she gets chair shots to the back, and fans were just chanting, you deserve it. And I'm just thinking, oh, I wonder what would happen if Becky beat the crap out of Vince. I would probably think that fans would be cheering up a storm here. And then Becky starts to run. Yeah, that was the one problem people had with Super Showdown. Why is Becky running? Like, that's not Becky. Like, she beat Charlotte clean at Hell in a Cell. Why can't you just make her a face again? Oh, foreigners are cowardly people, so we gotta make them cowards, right? That's how the world works, right? It's not like China has the largest military in the world right now. It's not like North Korea has the very vast, diverse, crazy people going ahead and willing to die for their dictator in a brainwashing proceed. Yes, I know I'm going into politics, but I'm just saying that the world is not filled with foreign cowards. Like, okay, yes, there are people who are cowards, but that's their choice to be feared and afraid, but still, not every foreigner is a coward. I am scared to know what Vince would do if he had a French wrestler in the ring. Because, the portrayal in media is how French people are always cowardly people. Yeah, that mentality. So, yeah. And then we get this moment where I kind of loved it, and I really wish there was something that followed up on it, where Charlotte goes ahead and does the figure 8 lock with the ladder, and I was thinking, okay, why didn't Becky go ahead, grab a steel chair when she got out, beat the crap out of Charlotte, and then do the disarmer with the steel chair by bending her arm with a chair? That really would have been interesting if they went there. I even wanted to write that in my story, a scene where Becky Lynch is doing the disarmer with a steel chair on this opponent of hers. So, yeah. But yeah, we get some, and they don't over-exploit the 10 count thing. We cut it at less than 10 times. I'm surprised they didn't go overabundant with it. Or they do the I quit mentality of, do you want to quit? 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 From the referee, like the John Cena Rusev match that I really hate. So, yeah. And once again, WWE keeps trying to make her a heel, not working. And then, and then I loved how Becky's reaction and desperation was hitting. I would have loved it more if Becky went ahead, in cautionary precautions, goes ahead, grabs a steel chair, ready to strike Charlotte if she gets up again. That would have made the character work. But, they didn't do that. She just thought, oh, I have this match in the bag. But yeah, and then we get this ending where Charlotte tries to get this table ready for a jump, and then Becky jumps up, grabs Flair by the for a power bomb, and I know that they said something. Becky was saying something to Charlotte, and I don't know what exactly. We might hear about this in a report in the coming days, but still. But the internet also moves fast, so they probably already reported it and I just didn't see it. But Charlotte is powerbombed through the table, and I kind of find it ironic a little bit that this is the same ending to the match that Becky lost the women's title in SmackDown Live to Alexa Bliss. Was it a coincidence or a callback? You make the call. Linkara Cara atop the fourth wall. So yeah. Charlotte doesn't answer the 10 count. Everyone rejoices that this match finally went the way everyone wanted it to after one disappointing Battle Royale ending with Ember Moon getting eliminated because Vince finds everyone too talented as a failure in his eyes. But yeah. Yeah, this is the end of the feud, hopefully. Becky Lynch retains the women's title. She defeats Charlotte clean and through all the legality in the match, without any dirty tricks, without any interference help to try and protect Charlotte, because even though Vince is trying his damnedest to make Becky a heel, he's not going to go all the way and just have someone interfere in the match. That would be stupid. He said, it was reported he wasn't even taking the show as a major priority. Crown Jewel was more important, and we all know how that's turning out right now with fans. And they kept advertising Crown Jewel during the all-women's pay-per-view. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that, right? So yeah, Becky Lynch retains in the second to last match, stole the show. It was quite honestly the best women's main roster match. I'm not saying NXT, all of WWE and NXT, main roster, not NXT. NXT probably has some more good matches. I do plan to rewatch Asuka versus Nikki Cross, but and talk about that video match. But right now, Becky Lynch and Charlotte, they stole the show. You got the storytelling. Like, I know some people started hating Charlotte because she was getting too protected as a face, and they kept trying to make her a sympathetic face, even though everyone else loved Becky. I didn't hate her. I just hated how they were booking her. Like, you know, Roman Reigns. Like, I'm a huge fan of Roman Reigns, but I just hated how they booked him as this sympathetic face, even though everyone else says that he works better as a heel because he has the look of a heel. He can go crazy as a heel. He can say whatever he wants on the microphone. And he could go ahead and verbally berate the fans if he wanted to on the mic, which would be awesome if he did that. If he had turned heel in WWE before his tragic leukemia incident. Get well soon, Roman. But moving forward, Becky Lynch, I'm curious as to know where Becky Lynch goes from here. Like, she beat Charlotte clean, and that means that the feud's technically over, right? So, who's next on the I gotta fight everybody? I want to say Asuka, but since she's been so bastardized and watered down by Vince McMahon's regime, because he will not push Asuka because she speaks Japanese and does not speak the American language of English. Yeah, that is legitimately Vince's reasoning. He will not push Asuka because she's a foreigner of Japanese descent and does not speak Japanese. And does not speak English. So yeah, that in no way comes off as kind of xenophobically racist. But the other problem is there's really no one else who could fight Becky Lynch on an even level. Like, it can't be Charlotte. Charlotte lost the feud, and they really shouldn't be revisiting it and risk it more. And yeah, like, Pete and the iconic duo can't really do anything because, well, they've been bastardized too, and not really given a chance to be taken seriously by Vince. Naomi, maybe, but not sure. Yeah, there's not that many women who can really, go all out with this. Like, I hope they don't do Carmella and Becky Lynch. Honestly, I don't want them to. So, yeah, Becky Lynch is now in a position where either she holds the title for a long time without any much challenge, or they go out of their way to rebuild Asuka, and they're not going to do that probably because there's a language barrier, even though there's like 100 other ways they could work with this. Like, maybe have Asuka have a mouthpiece, or, have Asuka just have her facial expressions tell the story, like they did in NXT. And when she does speak English, it comes off as crazy and psychotically intimidating. Like when Asuka screams out how she wants to fight all of them for the NXT Women's title when she was defending it in a Fatal 4-Way match. Yeah, that should say something about Asuka's character in NXT. So, yeah, Becky Lynch is now... And rumor has been going around that Becky Lynch is now being the front runner to be considered for a match at WrestleMania against Ronda Rousey. Yeah, originally it was reported that Ronda Rousey was going to fight Charlotte in the main event of WrestleMania, but because how popular Becky Lynch has been getting, which surprised me, of why Vince is actually changing his mind on something he's so firmly stuck with? My God, the end of time is coming! He's considering now, we should do Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey as the main event of WrestleMania. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would be a good idea. And I'm just thinking, like, do it. Do it. I want to see that match. I really want to see Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. Like, the basic storyline you could go with, just make it so basic, simple, and effective, is just try to prove who has the better arm maneuver, the better arm bar maneuver. Like, try to show who's the more dominant submission specialist. There! I gave you your story, Vince. Just go with it. And, Yeah, I'm hoping so much is going to happen with Becky Lynch's title run, and I really do hope that she gets to do the main event of WrestleMania. If this report is true, I will be all for it. But right now, I don't know what they're going to have Becky do. Like, they could also probably do the Survivor Series match style thing, where they go have SmackDown versus Raw, but word has been going around they might not be doing that this year, sadly. But if they're saving Becky and Ronda for WrestleMania as the main event, okay, I'll be all for it. So, those were my thoughts on Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair's last woman standing match at WWE Evolution. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to 2 for more.